Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In our Old Testament reading, we have Moses recounting the various travels that the Israelites had been on and the various experiences that they had. And as he's doing this, he's showing them the various places that they went, but also the various interactions that they had with the different people groups and nations and kingdoms that were in that area. And as he's recounting these stories, it could very well be the case that many of the Israelites were encouraged by these stories. You know, there they are right on the brink of the promised land, about to enter in. And one of the biggest ways they could be encouraged is by being reminded of what had happened in the past. And not just with their own experience, but also with the experience of others. As we go into chapter 2, we see that the faithfulness of God was extended even to those who were not his covenantal people. There's some emphasis in chapter 2 of God being faithful to the sons or the descendants of Lot, with Moab being protected in the land that God had secured for them. Also Ammon being protected as well in the land that God had given them. And then also the Edomites, the descendants of Esau. Verse 12 sounds very similar to the experience that Israel would have as they go into Canaan. It says the Horites formerly lived in Seir, but the sons of Esau dispossessed them and destroyed them from before them and settled in their place, just as Israel did to the land of their possession, which the Lord gave to them. And so, time and time again in chapter 2, we see God giving land to people who were connected to Israel, but weren't Israel themselves. They weren't technically part of the covenantal people. But these are people whom the Lord had blessed, and God had remained faithful to them. And so that would give them encouragement as they're going into the land to say, look, God was faithful to those who aren't in a covenantal relationship with him. How much more so would he be faithful to us, his covenantal people, his own peculiar people that he's taken possession of here in the wilderness? How much more so will he help us dispossess the nations and allow us to acquire our land, just as he did for Moab and Ammon and also the Edomites at Seir. And so that's one way they'd be encouraged, but also they're being reminded of the victories that they had already had with Sihon, the Amorite. They had overtaken him, even though he was a very powerful king. They had also taken over Og of Bashan, a very powerful king. They had had a lot of successes and had already gained some land. As a matter of fact, some of the tribes have already acquired land even before they even entered or crossed the Jordan River. And so they could remember their own experiences too, how God had been faithful to them thus far. And he's given them little glimpses of what victory looks like and encouragement to actually enter into the land. And so this would have been a very encouraging piece of Moses' message to the Israelites there as they're about to enter into the land. But it also can be encouragement to us as well, because we too can find encouragement when we consider the things that the Lord has done in the past. As we look ahead to the future, or even as we just try to make it through today, we can look at past things that God has done, his faithfulness, his care, his loving kindness, his grace that he's demonstrated in the past. And that can help us to have encouragement to go into the future. We can look to how God has worked in other people's lives. We can see how God has been faithful in other people's lives and how he had helped them, maybe perhaps in the answer of prayer or in giving them the strength to encounter various battles that they had to face or challenges that they had. We can look to previous generations of people who walked faithfully with the Lord and experienced the faithfulness of God. But then we can even look into our own lives and think of the past victories that we've had with the Lord, the things that we thought, or the times in which we thought things were hopeless and that we would never overcome, and that Everything was against us, and yet we came to the other side, and we found the other side of the darkness, and God was faithful to get us through it. These things can encourage us. The past can help us tremendously as we look toward the present and then even going into the future, to know that God is faithful and that He will be there for us. He will guide us, He will help us, He will strengthen us, and He'll keep us until we finish the journey. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our Old Testament reading. And with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.